Hello again. I hope everybody's doing okay. I bit the bullet yesterday and did my first round of COVID vaccine only because I went ahead and did a lot of research, like dozens of hours of research on the vaccine, about how they came up with it, how it works, and it's not a traditional vaccine, so if you're thinking about getting it and you haven't really read or dug into it at all, I mean, I don't watch news, so I don't know if you saw something on the news about it, but really it's gene editing. It's really what it is. It's, without going into the details, it's some RNA that goes and clips and finds the gene strands that actually fight the specific COVID-19 SARS virus, or protect against it anyway. So it's not like you get a dose of the regular virus and then you know, get sick and then you build antibodies. It doesn't even work like that. It's really something completely different. I will say my arm is a little bit sore in the spot where I got the injection. So I got to do this one and then come back in 30 days and get the second booster shot. But generally, I'm not one that likes vaccines. I'm not a big fan of vaccines, at least not the traditional ones. But this one, for sure, I've done some research and thought about it pretty hard, so I went ahead and took it. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I did want to talk about is leaving behind a legacy. And I don't mean that in like leaving behind some great, amazing work that you've done, but actually leaving documentation, walkthroughs, a battle book, whatever it happens to be when you retire. You've obviously been in the military long enough to have seen a bunch of stuff, and you understand things probably better than somebody who's just coming into the military. And I don't know, wherever level you may work at, you may work with just top level people like senior NCOs, senior officers, or you may work at a lower level like a battalion or brigade or something like that, where you actually get to interact with some of the younger, lower enlisted, younger officers and lieutenants, first year captains and things like that. So what I would say is the breadth of knowledge that you bring to the table is something that you definitely want to try to pass on. And however you can do that best, if you can take that documentation and put it together, ideally you would want to put it somewhere where everybody can touch it, everybody can get to it in a concise way. Try to spell it out, build it out so it's simple and easy to understand. If you've been documenting any of your process throughout your career, you should have a lot of good information. And the thing about information is if you keep it in your brain, that it stays in your brain. It goes with you when you leave. So my goal over the last couple of years actually is to get people to dump that information out of their brain, even if they're just PCSing. There's a lot of really good intrinsic knowledge that you can take and turn into institutional knowledge by simply drawing it out and spelling it out step by step, or making walkthroughs or little checklists. If you need some help on trying to figure out a good way to do it, there's a great book called The Checklist Manifesto. Atul Gawande, I think is the guy's name. He's written a bunch of pieces. He's an MD, and I believe he's in New York. And he's basically broken down the process of the checklist and how it impacts the way you do work and how effective it makes your work, and even cross-leveling that with like pilots, like airline pilots or just regular small plane pilots, right? Everything that they do is a checklist. And the way the FAA does it is they continually refine those checklists to make sure they're up to date, to make sure they make sense, with the overall intent of keeping people safe in the air, right? keeping airplanes in the sky and avoiding crashes as much as possible. So if you can do that kind of thing with your own documentation when you get ready to leave and pass it off. I've been doing it for the last couple PCSs I did. I just took everything that I had, whether it was how to do acquisitions or whether it was how to, set up a VTC or whatever, like whatever documentation you have, right? Any kind of process, like an awards process that you figured out or you've fleshed out. Don't take that stuff with you. Like, give it to somebody and pass it on and let them be successful in the shadow of you leaving, right? So that's really what it's all about. Once you get to a certain level in the military, you become the mentor, right? At first, when you start out and you're young and you're E3 or a young lieutenant or whatever, or even a W1, you're very eager to learn and eager to get things figured out, but you also reach out to mentors and people who are older than you and a little bit more experienced so that you can gain some of their experience. I'm sure we've all had those moments. And now as a senior leader or a more senior leader, you have the opportunity to turn that around and become the mentor, become the teacher and the guide. And one of the best ways to do that is to pass on that information, get people involved. If you work with a team of NCOs, like grab the young NCOs and throw them into the mix of something that you would normally be doing because you're the expert at it. Teach them to be the expert. What it does is it passes on the institutional knowledge, the knowledge in your brain as well, and it allows them to take that knowledge and then tweak it and turn it into something even better. Who knows what, how. You give somebody some tools and you let them do a job and let them surprise you on how they're going to actually use the tools and how they're going to finish the job, right? So make the military a better place than you came to it. When you came to it, it wasn't so great. We could probably all agree on that. Or maybe it was. But then you want to leave behind a trail so others can grab the tools and the information that you have and blaze their own trail and become great and do great things and get to the point where they can be inspired to stick around and not leave and go get better paying jobs on the outside, but actually drive the military force forward. You're helping out the organization and you're helping out the military in general by doing this. So I would highly recommend, highly advise, if you have the opportunity to sit down, if you have some time to block off maybe an hour or two a week or, on the weekends or whatever, and just gather up as much of that information as you can and try to put it all together. If you want to do it digitally, you can reach out. Feel free to drop some comments in below and let me know, like, what are your methods to do that if you do it? How do you gather your information? How do you spell out your information? How do you organize it? I'd be really curious to know because I'm always trying to learn. So with that, pass on the knowledge, pass the torch, let somebody else take that knowledge and run with it and do great things. And in turn, you've achieved your goal. So until next time, if you would like to get notifications when I post these videos, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button and you'll get a notification. I will not be bombarding you with videos every 10 minutes, so you will not see it pop up with my name on it, but at least not all the time. And yeah, until next time, I will talk to you later. Have a great evening.